You're viewing Tobago Updates Television, your exclusive gateway to Tobago, broadcasting the beauty of this island paradise to the world.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Good morning and welcome to Youth Wednesdays here at Tobago Updates. It's a beautiful morning. It's just one of those days where life just feels so worth living. Now, my name is Luke James Trim and I'm also joined by
Miss Julie St. John. Good morning, viewers. It's a delight to be here on another Youth Wednesdays.
So Jolie, what's been happening thus far? I know yesterday afternoon was a riveting afternoon. Some people were hospitalized. They were weeping and gnashing of teeth.
Yes.
But tell me, Jolie, what's been happening in the space thus far?
Well, a lot has been happening, as you would have alluded to. We have several World Cup games going on, and a lot of persons are in their feelings. You could see on the edge of their seat as we await who will win these matches. Last week, Thursday as well, we also had SCA results. We are still in the graduation season, kind of warming that down, coming to a close, and you know, school closes on Friday, so summer is practically in full swing.
Nice, Julie. Now, before we continue yapping, I just want you to do us a lovely favor and give us the news in 90 seconds.
Viewers, your news in 90 seconds for Wednesday, the 8th of July, 2026 begins now. A 35-year-old Tobago man has been denied bail until trial on October 5th, charged with a bizarre attempted ATM robbery in Plymouth. Sherman Irvin of Blackrock appeared before Master Shah facing 9 counts, including robbery with violence, malicious damage, and unlawful imprisonment. The charges stem from the June 24th incident where security guards at a call-and work site were allegedly held up, a backhoe stolen, and used to remove a First Citizens Bank ATM vault. A dragnet executed under the emergency powers regulations by the Tobago Divisional Task Force resulted in the arrest of 3 men at Friendsfield Trace in Calder Hall. During the sweep, law enforcement officers located and seized 35 cannabis trees. The suspects, ranging in age from 28 to 41, were taken into custody for illegal possession. The Ministry of Homeland Security assured citizens that, contrary to media reports, TNT is not running out of passport booklets. Minister Roger Alexander confirmed 12,000 booklets were delivered last month and 48,000 more will be arriving in September. Alexander says the inventory ensures uninterrupted services as the country transitions to a biometric chip e-passport. Finally, the parents of murdered Ronell Marcel has a major breakthrough yesterday in their son's police-involved shooting matter. After more than a year of runarounds and bureaucratic red tape, they met with the Assistant Commissioner of Police to discuss the ongoing status of the investigation. They now await the ACP's update on the investigations before exploring their legal options. That brings us to the end of our news in 90 seconds. Tune in again at 6:30 p.m. for the full newscast.
Thank you so much, Julie, for that excellent reading of the news. And Julie, I just want to first continue by congratulating you on your graduation. I don't think I got the opportunity to congratulate you, and I really wish you all the best in your future endeavors. Tell me something. What do you want to be when you grow up?
A child psychiatrist.
A child psychiatrist. Okay, good. That sounds interesting. Let's switch over to the birthday, shall we?
Yes, we shall.
First on all this, who do we have?
We have Mr. Arias Dick from the Tobago Updates team here. We want to wish you the happiest of birthdays. We pray that today is filled with love, blessings, and that you have many more years of life and prosperity ahead of you.
Lovely. And next on our list, we have Mr. Sylvester Jacka. Happy birthday to you, and I wish you all the best today.
Our last birthday, we have a short list today, but of course, by no means least, we have Miss Janelle Jofield. A hearty birthday is sent out to you. We pray that today is, fitting for your liking, that you are celebrated for the entire week, maybe the month as well, and that, you get all the gifts, the cake, the ice cream, and that you are showered in love and blessings.
Lovely. So before we get into the fun of everything, I think we have a very special guest who is online just to walk us through some of the eventful events that happened yesterday. Yes, viewers, we are joined by Mr. Marcus Daniel.
Put all or some of your dividends on your shares and get up to 3 times the amount. Your loan would be extended to maintain the same installment. Promotion runs June 23rd to August 31st. Think, plan, save.
Marcus, good morning. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Hi, good morning, guys. Good morning to viewers of Tobago Updates Television. I like that you said eventful. Yesterday was really an eventful day. Before I get into my my discourse with the World Cup, let me also extend congratulations to Jolie on her graduation. Of course, all the best in her future endeavors in trying to be a child psychologist that's it, right?
Yeah.
Child psychiatrist. Sorry,
yes.
Psychiatrist. We do need it in this space. All the best going forward.
Thank you.
Yes, eventful day yesterday. I hope that you weren't supporting Argentina. Any Argentines here?
No, we are not racist, so you know.
Oh my gosh. I'm not gonna get into that discussion there. But yesterday they were down by 2-0 and they came back from a 2-0 in the 70th minute, and then they came back to win that game by 3-2. And a lot of persons here in Trinidad and in Tobago, they are supporting Argentina, and they got a scare. They got a scare yesterday in that round of 16 match. But at the end of the game, the Argentines, the world champions, the defending champions, they found a way to get over the line and booked a spot in the quarterfinals. It was that man again, Lionel Messi, the captain. He has now scored in 8 successive World Cup games, the first player to have done that, and he has now scored 8 goals to be the leading goal scorer in this year's World Cup. Lionel Messi, the little magician, and number of records scored yesterday, in that he would have played his 30th game, the most by any player in terms of World Cup appearances and in terms of all-time leading goal scorer in the World Cup. Guess who? Lionel Messi with 21 goals, and he has done it once again for his team Argentina in securing a spot in the quarterfinal. We started with 104 games. We are now down to the final 8 games of the World Cup. We started with 48 teams. We are down to the final 8 teams. Who is going to take the title on July the 19th? Left to be seen. So the teams that are involved and teams that are remaining in the World Cup, we have France. They are going to be taking on Morocco tomorrow. That's going to be starting at 4 p.m. Then on Friday, we have Spain taking on Belgium at 3 p.m. And on Saturday, we have a doubleheader. And these 2 matches, these doubleheader matches are exciting ones. Norway taking on England at 5 p.m. And then we're going to have Argentina taking on Switzerland at 9 p.m. And of course, the winners in those games, they're going to play in the semi-finals come next Tuesday. So exciting times remaining in the World Cup. 8 teams, and we have 8 games remaining. I mean, yesterday, as you mentioned, Luke, exciting. A number of persons who had supported Argentina, and they felt that the Egyptians, they were robbed yesterday with some inconsistent refereeing. In fact, the Egyptians, they would have scored a goal late in the game that would have taken them to 3 goals, and it was ruled off by VAR. A number of other instances where persons felt that the referees and VAR, they were favoring the Argentinians. But what's a beautiful game without some form of controversy? I am here for it, and I know you guys, of course, are also here for it. So no games today. It's a rest day today, just to catch a breath from yesterday's eventful day, and we're going to be back here on Friday again.
Thank you very much, Marcus, for those updates. And yes, viewers, if you ever want to see what a real life 360 looks like, just rewatch yesterday's game, and you will definitely see it. All right, Marcus, take care.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Have a good day.
Welcome to Tobago Glass Supplies Limited, where innovation meets excellence and service reigns supreme. Our commitment is simple: to provide high-quality, innovative aluminum, vinyl, and glass solutions for both commercial and residential spaces. At TGSL, we don't just meet needs, we exceed expectations. Our range includes the finest aluminum cladding options, setting new standards in durability and style. Driven by our passion to elevate, we aim to be the leading supplier in the Caribbean market while retaining our identity as a family-owned business. Because at Tobago Glass Supplies Limited, it's not just about products. It's about relationships. It's about you. Innovation, quality, service. That's Tobago Glass Supplies Limited.
All right, so viewers, up next we have Mrs. Shirna Alexander Benjamin. She is a socio-economic development and systematic impact strategist, and she's going to be joining us to speak about reducing violence against women. Another one of our guests, Mrs. Avanel Hector Joseph, she's the founder and team leader of Is There Not a Crisis? And we are going to be speaking about their underground work in the Venezuela Relief Mission. And lastly, we are going to be joined by Mr. Dwayne Edwards, an event promoter here in the Tobago space, chatting it up with us about Tequila Sunset 2026 poolside editions. So there's a lot in store, a lot of diverse discussions, and to ensure that you don't miss anything we have planned, we want to encourage you to share the live, share the live, share the live.
Our world is filled with rhythm. Rhythm that's unapologetic, infectious, timeless. Rhythm is commitment in action. It's how we show up for each other with unrelenting support that goes the distance. Rhythm lives in the tiny beats of our most intimate moments and the seismic roars of our biggest achievements. Rhythm is resilience in motion. So even when things go out of sync, we do what it takes to bring the rhythm back. At Flow, we understand your rhythm because we live it. That's why we're dedicated to building a network as resilient as you, with a team of familiar faces working every day to keep you on beat. You're at the heart of everything we do, and our commitment is to keep your rhythm flowing, no matter what.
Coming up, Barbados kicks off festival season with Crop Over, where you can live like a local. Moments of discovery and joy during Culinary Month in Antigua and Barbuda. Find that hero within you. As these women of vision share their stories of success, Caribbean Passport TV, your guide to what's happening in the region, here on this station.
Nice.
If I have to call a supervisor one more time to sign off on a customer because their financials are in a mess, I will scream.
Don't scream in a bank. That have lock up in it.
It's either they're not registered properly, or you know what? We could just forget about annual returns, right?
Compliance is a bad word to most of them. Haul your compliance out of here. But let me eat.
What is wrong with Trinbagonians? I mean, it has so much help they could get out there.
Well, you know, Trinis, we don't like to spend we money.
But you know what? Be comfortable with losing we money. That make it any financial
What people should do is call Anderson in Trinidad and Tobago.
Wait, what? Anderson in Trinidad and Tobago?
Anderson in Trinidad and Tobago Tax and Accounting Services. Yeah, they offer helping from registering your business to filing your tax. My lunch is over. Oh!
Wait, tell me more.
No, go and scream in the bank. You go and scream in the bank.
No, darling, don't get one sooner.
As small Caribbean islands, we do need to remember that we can't do it individually. The Caribbean needs to work as a whole. From something as simple as pool procurement of medicine or pool procurement of equipment, to sharing training, to having centers of excellence in different islands. Working together as one, we can become giants.
Be viewing Caribbean Medical TV on this station.
Put a smile on your face. morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Viewers, welcome back. It is still Youth Wednesdays here on the Tobago Updates Morning Show, but we are going to be shifting our discussion to be more women-focused. Joining us, we have Miss Shona Alexander Benjamin. She is a socio-economic development and systematic impact strategist. And this morning's discussion is going to be based on reducing violence against women. Good morning, Shona, and welcome to Tobago Updates.
Good morning, and it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me, and also thank you to the people of Tobago to have me share this time with them.
It's a pleasure to host you. So, violence against women continues to be a very pertinent and prevalent issue globally, and of course here in Trinidad and Tobago. From your perspective, where do we currently stand in the midst of this issue, and what concerns you the most entirely?
What concerns me the most, and before I answer that question, if you would permit me, before we talk about the concerns and the statistics or advocacy or even solutions, I must pause and say her name, and her name is Nisha Roberts. A daughter, sister, friend, colleague, supporter, helper, and a former member of the Seventh-day Adventist Church, and a woman who her community describes as pleasant, helpful, and never confrontational. She should still be here. It's a time that our nation and communities understand that one woman killed is one woman too many. So I wanted to take that pause to say her name, and the name also that follows in terms of all of the women whose lives went before hers. And indeed, what concerns me is that, one, we continue to have a culture of violence ingrained in our society, ingrained in the way we interact with each other. And we sometimes minimize when we speak about violence against women. This is not a woman versus a man issue. This is about a human rights issue. It's about a state issue, a family issue, a community issue, and it's an issue that is grounded in the future of our nation. So those are some of the things that concern me, including the lack of a preventative model to respond to violence, so that it disrupts it from reaching to the place that we're talking about now.
Okay, and Ms. Alexander, you have consistently advocated for gender-based violence to not only be regarded as a criminal justice issue, but as a socio-economic and public health issue. Why do you believe it is important for us to widen the lens through which we view gender-based violence?
Because first of all, gender-based violence is an umbrella term. And an umbrella term meaning under that umbrella, there are various forms of violence that exist and overlap. And when we speak about gender, we are not speaking about women alone. We're speaking about both women and men, because violence is manifested against both women and men in different proportions, intensities, and levels. The research shows that women and girls are disproportionately affected in the whole umbrella of gender-based violence. And most times when people hear the term gender-based violence, they automatically think this is just a woman's issue. No, it's all of a society issue, and it includes men, it includes women, it includes boys, it includes girls. Once you speak about gender-based violence, under the umbrella of gender-based violence, we have family violence, we have violence against women, we have violence against men, we have intimate partner violence. So it is critical for us to understand when we speak to gender-based violence, what are we speaking to? Which form of the violence under that umbrella are we speaking to? And rather than just looking at the criminal part towards the persecution and so forth, let's also look at the socio-economic impact. Let's look at the social impact, the health impact, the relational impact, and also the individual impact and the individual and collective trauma that also comes with that. So it's not just a criminal issue, it's an entire socio-economic issue.
Thank you very much, Ms. Benjamin. And, we appreciate that, these victims, they oftentimes don't have the courage to come forward and to, inform those around them what their lived reality is. How can the community get involved? How can someone who is onlooking really identify that this person may be a victim of abuse or some type of violence, and how can they really, hold their hands to navigate them out of that situation?
Okay, so that's a really charged question, and it's one that we need to have more conversations to unpack. And one of the things I want to speak to right away is this idea that we have heard over the years that we need to look for the red flags. Women need to look for the red flags. And for the past 5 or 6 years, I have been really working towards shifting away from that concept of look for the red flags. It does not mean looking for the red flags is bad, but I have changed it to something what I call, let's look for the amber lights or the flags. Much of our public education still centers on red flags, and I want to propose that we shift that language. By the time behavior is unmistakably red, it is often already a crisis, a threat with a weapon, a strangulation attempt, a stalking pattern, a stated intention to harm. Red flag tells us to run, but it arrives late in many cases for many women, sometimes too late to even act. An amber light or flag is different because it means slow down, pay attention, look at the patterns of behavior, decide while there is still room to do so safely. And amber flags are the early and often warning signs, which we sometimes quietly normalize those patterns that are left unaddressed. Now, to identify what family members or community members can do is first to ask the question if they do have the information or the education on what to look for and how to act. So in this process of change and addressing intimate partner violence, education is critical, and not just a theoretical education, but practical and fit for purpose education that people can apply in their daily lives. So once that is in place, then you identify certain things like, okay, is this individual being isolated from other family members? Is this individual's behavior changing in a particular way? Then you look for patterns of behavior on the partner, whether the partner is a male, whether the partner is a female. In this case, the alleged partner is a male. So what were some of those patterns of behavior that was being noticed by family members, by friends, by church members, by even his own family members in Trinidad and Tobago that could highlighted and raised an amber flag to say to Nisha Roberts, these are some of the patterns that we have noticed, and we believe that it's time to look more deeper into these things, investigate, do some due diligence, look for some risk, do some risk assessment, look to see if there are benefits, if there are opportunities, and look to see if it's time to run. So those are some of the things in terms of identifying the patterns and to move away from the aspect of judging someone who is in a relationship where violence may be present. No one gets up one morning and say, I want to go into a relationship where someone hits me, where someone is emotionally abusive, where someone's isolate me from my family members and friends. This again is about a progressive pattern of behavior that occurs over time. And as those patterns of behaviors are left unaddressed, then it escalates in this physical manifestation of violence that takes a life.
Okay. Now, Ms. Benjamin, you would have mentioned identifying signs, but generally most of the national conversation does begin only after tragedy strikes. We are generally more of a reactive than a proactive society, and I'm sure you can agree that not enough is being done in terms of investing in preventative measures. So share with us some of the practical preventative measures that you would like to see implemented. What are some things that schools, governments, communities can do to fight against gender-based violence before tragedy has struck?
Okay, so some of the things that an individual can do, they can build emotional regulation skills early for everyone, especially for boys and men, so that anger, things like jealousy and rejection do not default to control or violence. Because in the construct of violence against a person, it's about power, it's about control. When someone says no to someone who does not know how to regulate their emotion, they feel dejected, and that dejection is manifested in this act of impulse, in this act of passion, in this act of violence. We can also establish skills for building healthy relationships to disrupt pathways to violence and the pathways to the violence to prison pipelines and the disinvested communities to prison pipelines. Learn and teach each other about what those healthy relationships actually look like by modeling them in practice, not just in theory, and understand that self-worth is not contingent on relationship status, and resist any narrative, including well-meaning ones from faith communities that suggest otherwise. Now, for families, what can families do? Families can develop a culture at home where disclosure is met with support and not shame and judgment, so that a relative's honesty is never punished by silence or judgment. So it means disrupting this culture that we have where what happens in the home is silent, what happens in the bedroom is silent. And we often say to people when they're getting married or when they're dating, whatever problems you all have, keep it to yourself. Don't share that with anyone else. What we are doing is enabling a culture of violence within our society. What we should be saying to people is, if a situation arises, you must be able to have a trusted support mechanism or ecosystem that you can rely on to guide you all through this particular process. Build media literacy, like what we're doing now, around ideas about romance and control, healthy relationships, what surveillance looks like in a relationship, and the intensity that is actually this urgency for us to act. In terms of community, faith communities can integrate healthy relationships education into premarital and singles ministries into their own church services, shifting the emphasis from the urgency to find a partner to discernment about a healthy partner across dimensions in that partner's life. So spiritual, social, mental, economic, and physical. And workplaces can train supervisors and human resource teams to recognize signs of intimate partner violence and to respond with support and appropriate referral than silence. And for the government, they can look at things like strengthening enforcement of protection orders so that real, timely police response backs the paper that it's written on. Invest in specialized domestic violence units. So within police service, we know we have domestic violence units within the police system. So how do we strengthen those? And within the judiciary, with training grounded in ideas around patterns of behavior control and not just looking at the isolated incident or the physical injury, and building a national data system, ideally a femicide registry that tracks patterns across cases, so policy is built on evidence rather than the headlines. Collaborate with NGOs. There are many NGOs doing great work and identify areas for alignment and investment. Engaging NGOs should never be an afterthought. They are the third sector within society, and it is critical to identify how many exist and what work is being done. And finally, review the Domestic Violence Act and related legislation regularly against lived experience and regional best practices, against research that is emerging, including the standards set by the Inter-American Model Law on Gender-Based Digital Violence, and hold public officials of any era, party accountable for language that shifts responsibility onto survivors, since leadership messaging often shapes and frame and enable how violence is viewed and how violence is discussed within our society.
All right, Miss Benjamin, so I want to thank you so much for sharing all this information this morning. I think that this conversation is one of those conversations that we need to be having more often, especially on the island of Tobago, considering what all the recent events that just occurred. So I want to thank you for joining us. Thank you for taking time out this morning to sit down and chat with us. I do hope you have a blessed and productive day today. Take care.
And thank you all for having me.
All right, Julie, so we still have a packed segment for our viewers this morning. But before we get into the next conversation, viewers, we're going to take a quick break. Just remember to share the live, share the live, share the live.
Coming up, Barbados kicks off festival season with Crop Over, where you can live like a local. Moments of discovery and joy during Culinary Month in Antigua and Barbuda. Find that hero within you. As these women of vision share their stories of success, Caribbean Passport TV, your guide to what's happening in the region, here on this station.
And I have never, ever tried anything from the dirt oven.
Let's go to the backyard dirt oven on a Thursday. Here now, talk about authentic. On entry, I felt at home. I felt like I was going to visit my loving grandmother on a weekend. The kind of weekend where she showers you with love, stories, and food. This place is a home away from home. And just like I would do at home, I pop the question, what you had to eat day? And boom, coconut drops. Boom, bread. Boom, garlic bread, boom, hops, boom, coconut tart, boom, jam tart, and boom, something they call nuts. And just like that, Mistress Baker was ready to pop them in the oven. And don't worry, she had some help. And while we was waiting, I said, let me hear from Mistress Baker herself.
Well, we've been operating for a couple of years now. We started, this was a COVID project. We operate strictly on Tuesdays only. You don't keep stock, we only sell on Tuesdays.
Such a sweet lady. Hey, Olia, it's ready. When last you see a nice golden brown bread, sir? Backyard bakery for the win. Olia, a GT. I finally get me the oven bread with a little extra goodies on the side. You might be asking, where they're located? They are located on Bukuru, right on Nightingale Avenue, right before Racetrack Wheels if you're coming from town. Just look for the green hedge. You can't miss it. Pause. Check out the menu they one time. Honestly, guys, this is an experience I will never forget. It's a home away from home, a place filled with love, life, and most importantly, good bread.
As small Caribbean islands, we do need to remember that we can't do it individually. The Caribbean needs to work as a whole. From something as simple as pool procurement of medicine or pool procurement of equipment, to sharing training, to having centers of excellence in different islands. Working together as one, we can become giants.
Be viewing Caribbean Medical TV on this station.
Nice.
If I have to call a supervisor one more time to sign off on a customer because their financials are in a mess, mess, I will scream.
Don't scream in a bank. That have lockup in it.
It's either they're not registered properly, or you know what? We could just forget about annual returns, right?
Compliance is a bad word to most of them. All your compliance out of here. But let me eat.
What is wrong with Trinbagonians? I mean, it has so much help they could get out there.
Well, you know, Trinis, we don't like to spend we money.
But you know what? Be comfortable with losing we money. That make it any financial
What people should do is call Anderson in Trinidad and Tobago.
Wait, what? Anderson in Trinidad and Tobago?
Anderson in Trinidad and Tobago Tax and Accounting Services. Yeah, they offer helping from registering your business to filing your tax. My lunch is over.
Wait, tell me more.
No, go and scream in the bank. You go and scream in the bank.
No, Antoine, don't get one sooner.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Avenel Hector Joseph, the founder and team leader of Is There Not a Cause, joins us virtually on air this morning. Mrs. Joseph, can you hear us?
Yes, I can you hear me?
I'm
Yes,
hearing
I
you
can.
loud and clear. Thank you so much for joining us this
Nice.
morning.
Okay, the next time I have to join you guys, you'll need to send me a ticket so I could come to Tobago and get some salt water and that big thing. And by the granny who making the nice homemade bread, I just say, because this is my second time virtual. And today I have to be virtual because I'm in Venezuela. But next time I think I have to be in Bigo.
Okay, lovely. So, Mrs. Joseph, I just want you to walk us through what's happening on the ground in Venezuela, please.
Well, without saying the country is in mourning, it's a situation where we've seen in a lot of disasters where there are certain parts of the country that have been affected immensely in terms of the actual physical damage, like we saw with Jamaica last year. What saved the Jamaica is that Kingston was intact, so the country was able to function, right? We see the same sort of situation with Venezuela. While Caracas more or less is up on its functions, we have been able to get stuff there. At the country's morning, I saw something a rather interesting phenomenon that I've never noticed anywhere else, not in any of the disasters that we've been to, whether it was Jamaica, Haiti, wherever. They have actually stopped selling alcohol in the groceries. And I was asking the person, our translator, why. She said the country is in mourning. So when you go into the malls and stuff, people are more or less, they're a little bit sober, but they're more or less going about their business, their everyday business. But then when you go closer to La Guaira, where it's the epicenter, oh my God, it is really, really, really heartbreaking. For example, when we were out there on Monday, there was a lot of activity. I sent that video, I think. There's a lot of activity happening, and we were wondering what was going on. And it's because demolition of a building was going on, and some people were getting very emotional because they were saying, no, don't demolish, don't demolish. We believe that there are people underneath there. And the day before, which was Sunday, they pulled out 4 people. So up to, I think, the 11th day, right? We didn't get any updates on yesterday, but we're going back to La Guaira today. That's where you're seeing that footage there, and it's really heartbreaking because those were some buildings, some very interesting buildings. They were made with, I'm not sure what they were made with, sort of like a board material, and that sort of framing that you use for like gypsum, that kind of thing. There's a name they call it in the US, and there's those that you're seeing there that are extremely burnt out. There were no survivors for the most part for one of those buildings. What happened is that there was a tank next door, and that tank exploded. So behind that gate thing that you're seeing there, a tank exploded when the earthquake took place. So those vehicles were burnt out, and there were no survivors in some of those buildings because it just caught a fire. There's no concrete, anything. It's just materials that can, and so it was really sad. And we had the opportunity to talk with someone on behalf of one of those victims of that particular fire. She was just so emotional. She could not speak. She literally had to run up the stairs, grab her 2 children, I think like about 4 and 6, run back down. And she was so traumatized. She ended up far away from her home, almost naked. So hearing the stories, meeting persons who lost all the members of their family, meeting persons who, it might be 2 children that survived, meeting persons who have no idea where their loved ones could be, meeting persons who are standing by buildings as the search continues. But there are mixed views. Should we continue with this search and rescue? Should it just be recovery of bodies at this stage? And of course, if I was living in a building, I can't find my family, I would want to stand by and I would want hope to exist. I would want that level of compassion. So there are many, many emotions, and lots of people that's getting the normal thing. A lot of people get a lot of stuff, and then there's some people who are not getting a lot of stuff. So we're trying to get data and information to go after those persons who are further off, those persons who are in catchments that are not being reached.
Now, Mrs. Joseph, you have told us of what you witnessed firsthand and the needs of the people that you encountered, but tell us about the mission of the organization and what inspired the organization to even become a part of this recent relief efforts.
Okay, so I saw that you showed something called Caribbean Medical TV, and it's the second time I'm seeing it. It really paints a picture of the region and our proximity of, yes, Venezuela is not a part of CARICOM per se, but we are part of Response Caribbean, right? As you can see from my jersey, Response Caribbean. It's an amalgamation, a coming together of NGOs across the region. And ITNAC as an entity, we have spearheaded from a grassroots level a number of disaster responses over the years, from since 2002, whether it was Ivan in Grenada. We even responded, there was some years ago, big mudslide in Tobago and all of that stuff. The earthquake in 2010, we were in Irma, Rita and Katrina in Louisiana in 2005, the floods in Guyana 2005 as well. And, coming through the content, Dorian rather, in Jamaica, the one that damaged also a number of islands, Matthew. We were around for the volcanic eruption in 2021 in St. Vincent, the floods in St. Vincent. So we have a history as recent as burial, as recent as last year for Melissa. So what we were actually doing, given that the hurricane season is from the 1st of June to the 30th of November 2025, we were working on something, or are working on something called a FOB, which is a Forward Operations Base. It's a pre-positioning of resources. I shared that last time, and we will be setting up one in Tobago also. If there are any Tobago NGOs willing to join us on that, we would love to have you on board. So we are sending ahead, because it's a hurricane season and there are possibilities or probabilities that a hurricane will exist. Very high probability. If there is none for this particular cycle, at the end of the year, we cycle out the perishable goods and we give it out with some Christmas items for the Christmas, and we start again, so that should a hurricane or storm or trough or anything exist, we have items already in those islands to respond immediately while we build and raise support. We were in what you call this place, Dominica, in April. So our plan basically was to do that, but things started going crazy. We had Dominica having a bad trough in April, so we had to go and respond to that outside of the known hurricane season. So we are there getting stuff, selling stuff off to St. Vincent, selling stuff off to Grenada, packaging stuff for our next shipment for Dominica, Antigua and St. Lucia, and bang, out of nowhere, literally an earthquake happens. And when something like this happens, especially within the region, or in this case, not necessarily the Caribbean, but so close to us, it wasn't if, it was when, it was how. Because we believe that what we say is that responsibility is the ability to respond. And immediately, once a disaster happens or a disaster is pending, like for the case of Melissa, an earthquake is different because it just comes bang, 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 not much warning. For example, with Melissa, there was a long run-up for days to Melissa. We were actually in Canada engaging the Trinbagonian diaspora and other members of the regional diaspora to support us. We were pretty much coming to the end of the hurricane season, but Melissa was pending. So once that started to happen, people would call, hey, what is that plan to do if a hurricane hit? In that case, in the case of the earthquake, once it happened, some would say, is it not doing something? But then our diehards would ask, what is it not doing? So for us, once there's a disaster, it's not if, but it's what, it's how do we navigate this particular scenario? And it's very much different and has to be handled differently for obvious reasons, without saying because of the geopolitical issues, because of we've never really operated within a socialist context before. Most of the countries that we've worked in were democracies. So, or capitalist system, if you want to say it that way. So we've got to, navigate. This is sort of a new normal to us. Use a little wisdom. Make sure we listen. Make sure we read the room, the military guidelines and stuff. So it wasn't if, and then we have ongoing work with the migrant community. We've done the learning space where we do classes for them from since 2019, pre-COVID. We've also done medical. A lot of them come to us in and out from time to time for support. So we have a rich connection as an NGO with the Venezuelan community. Even though they are not part of Response Caribbean, we still know that we needed to respond.
All right, Mrs. Joseph, and I really want to find out for individuals on the island or anyone who listened to this interview this morning, how can we support you? How can they, get goods onto you? How can we really assist your organization with the relief efforts that they usually execute?
Okay, well, the number is 394-2042. If on the 18th, we will be sending a shipment from Trinidad side. So if persons can put their stuff together, by Friday, if we can send the information to confirm, the people, we will be reaching out to finalize with some businessmen the drop-off points so that the items, we have the transport to bring it over. We just need to confirm that place where it's going to be set, where you can drop it off. So drop off rather. So if we can if I can probably arrange it with you or someone just to do the announcement by tomorrow or Friday to let people know where they can. We want the emphasis to be food, to be water, children's clothes, men's clothes, because we have a lot of women's clothes, so we're cutting off on that. Toiletries, soap, shampoo, laundry detergent, cleaning supplies, baby supplies, any plasters, bandages, sheets, towels. We would really appreciate those items.
All right. Thank you, Mrs. Joseph, for joining us, and thank you for sharing with us how we can get on to you and assist in this Venezuela relief mission.
Can I just actually let people know we bank with Republic Bank and we bank with First Citizens Bank, and all of the accounts are in our name. Is there not a cause?
Okay, thank you for sharing that with us, and thank you again for joining us this morning. It was our pleasure to host you. Viewers, as we bring this conversation to a close, we still have lots more in store, so we want to encourage you to stay tuned. Up next, we have Mr. Dwayne Edwards chatting with us about Tequila Sunset 2026. So in the meantime, share the live, share the live, share the live.
As small Caribbean islands, we do need to remember that we can't do it individually. The Caribbean needs to work as a whole. From something as simple as pool procurement of medicine or pool procurement of equipment, to sharing training, to having centers of excellence in different islands. Working together as one, we can become giants.
Be viewing Caribbean Medical TV on this station.
Nice.
If I have to call a supervisor one more time to sign off on a customer because their financials are in a mess, I will scream.
Hey, don't scream in a bank. That have lockup in it.
It's either they're not registered properly, or you know what? We could just forget about annual returns, right?
Compliance is a bad word to most of them. Haul your compliance out of here. But let me eat.
What is wrong with Trinbagonians? I mean, it has so much help they could get out there.
Well, you know, Trinis, we don't like to spend we money.
But you know what? Be comfortable with losing we money. That make it any financial
What people should do is call Anderson in Trinidad and Tobago.
Wait, what? Anderson in Trinidad and Tobago?
Anderson in Trinidad and Tobago Tax and Accounting Services. Yeah, they offer helping from registering your business to filing your tax. My lunch is over.
Wait, tell me more.
No, go and scream in the bank. You go and scream in the bank.
No, Antoine, don't get one sooner.
The Caribbean is more than just a place. It's a spirit, resilient, vibrant, and full of possibility. Rooted in connection, driven by community. It's who we are and the heart of everything we do. For over 150 years, we've been right here, invested in the Caribbean, its people, and its progress. And today, we're going even further. Liberty Business, rooted in the Caribbean, committed to you.
Coming up, Barbados kicks off festival season with Crop Over, where you can live like a local. Moments of discovery and joy during Culinary Month in Antigua and Barbuda. Find that hero within you. As these women of vision share their stories of success, Caribbean Passport TV, your guide to what's happening in the region, here on this station.
And I have never, ever tried anything from the dirt oven.
Let's go to the backyard dirt oven on a Thursday and talk about authentic. On entry, I felt at home. I felt like I was going to visit my loving grandmother on a weekend. The kind of weekend where she showers you with love, stories, and food. This place is a home away from home. And just like I would do at home, I popped the question, what you had to eat day? And boom, coconut drops. Boom, bread. Boom, garlic bread, boom, hops, boom, coconut tart, boom, jam tart, and boom, something they call nuts. And just like that, Mistress Baker was ready to pop them in the oven. And don't worry, she had some help. And while we was waiting, I said, let we hear from Mistress Baker herself.
Well, we've been operating for a couple of years now. We started, this was a COVID project. We operate strictly on Tuesdays only. You don't keep stock, we only sell on Tuesdays.
Such a sweet lady. Hey, Olia, it's ready. When last you see a nice golden brown bread, sir? Backyard bakery for the win. Olia, a GT. I finally get me the oven bread with a little extra goodies on the side. You might be asking, where they're located? They are located on Bukuru, right on Nightingale Avenue, right before Racetrack Wheels if you're coming from town. Just look for the green hedge. You can't miss it. Pause. Check out the menu day one time. Honestly, guys, this is an experience I will never forget. It's a home away from home, a place filled with love, life, and most importantly, good bread.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Viewers, welcome back to Youth Wednesdays here on the Tobago Updates Morning Show, and we are going to be getting into a discussion about Pink Fest 2026, and joining us to discuss this event is Mr. Jimmy Toussaint, an event promoter. Welcome to Tobago Updates, Mr. Toussaint.
Welcome. Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure to host you. So, Pink Fest has become one of the anticipated events for Tobago's Carnival, and it has grown over the past couple years. What can patrons expect from this year's edition, and how will it differ or be better than previous years?
Okay, before I even start, I want to start by thanking the team that I have. I have an excellent team, several mainly female, 4 female, 3 male, so it's a majority female committee. Also, 4 of the committee members, they actually reside on the island, so it's a majority local committee also. And we have people, and I did send a video. I would love for their pictures to be placed up. We have Denicia, Jamisha, Darrell, Kanisha, Camille, and Dr. Andre Toussaint. So I want to start by thanking them. So let's get to Pink Fest. So I want to also mention that Pink Fest is not a party. It's an experience. And we would like everyone to come this year and experience the Pink Fest experience. So this is the 4th edition. We started 3 years ago. And what we try to do is each year, we try to come with something as innovative as possible. Now, this year, Pink Fest 4, but we've been calling it Pink Fest IV, and IV would give you the notion of music in your vein, IV intravenous, that type of notion, food in your vein, experience in your vein. So this year, we are looking to do a theme. Actually, it's the first year we are actually looking at themes. So we have decided to look at the Mardi Gras that is held annually in New Orleans. And what patrons would expect is to get a fusion of Tobago's culture with the Mardi Gras experience. So we are talking about mass, beads, food, and of course, a great time.
Okay, lovely. So, if you are to walk us through what this experience would be like, because Tobago Carnival it's an extremely festive season, and for those who may not want to really be on the road or just walking up in the hot sun because of their own personal reservations, why should they choose the Pink Fest?
Right. So Pink Fest, as I mentioned before, it's an experience. It's going to be a unique experience. So what we have decided that every year we would bring something very unique. That is why we expect, or we hope, that patrons would come and participate in that unique experience, because it wouldn't happen again. So this year, what we have done, besides the quote unquote the fitting aspect of it, we have introduced several programs. It might sound kind of weird that an experience is having programs, but we have introduced several programs. And before I get to the programs, I want the patrons to know that we have also introduced a strategy. It's called omni-channel, where both physical, digital, and mobile touch points creates this seamless, unified customer experience. So when I say that, I'm talking about if you buy a physical tickets, we have some physical tickets, you also get a digital experience from that physical ticket. So you're talking about a physical ticket with the power of a digital power. If you're on the different platforms, social media platform that we have, it links everything together. But what we are trying to do is bring everyone to our website. So we have built a very versatile website, pinkfest.org. And from there, and I did send some pictures. It'd be nice if you all put those pictures up. From there, you could get that interactive experience with Pinky. So we do have a bot, IT bot, and you could ask Pinky any question. She's gonna that right. So Pinky is there wherever you see that WhatsApp logo there. That's actually our bot. You could talk with our bot. Also, each link there, each link you would see a no fee ticket. I want to go into a couple of those things. The no fee ticket, those are tickets that you purchase directly from us, saving you 8%, as opposed if you were to purchase it from, let's say, Island E-Ticket. You could also purchase from Island E-Ticket. We also have a bottle package. These are part of our programs. And also, if nothing else works and you want to get into Pinkfest, there's a chance to win your way in. So there are tickets, there's money, there are coupons, etc. So there's an experience anyone could come to Pinkfest, whether you have the funds or whether you don't have the funds.
All right, and Mr. Two Saints, I'm seeing from one of the flyers that early bird tickets went on sale from June 1st, 2026. What has the demand and the crowd response been like thus far, and how can persons secure their tickets if they are still available?
Right, so the early bird tickets, they went very quickly. We do have our second tier. It's available right now. And as I mentioned, and let me just go back a bit. So regarding the tickets, as I mentioned again, we have tickets that are being sold on Island E-Ticket. We also have tickets that you could buy directly by contacting us through the website. These are the no-fee tickets. However, we had some challenges with our physical tickets over the last couple of years. And we decided that, you know what, to save some trees, we wouldn't go this physical ticket way. But because the patrons have been clamoring, oh, we would like to get off it. Some people just like to have a physical ticket in their hand. We have brought out a new type of ticket. This is one of our innovation. It's called a hybrid ticket. So it's an actual physical ticket, and I did mention it before, with the digital power. So on that ticket, you will see certain QR codes. You could scan, you would see the price at the prevailing time. You would also be able to enter any of the promotional giveaways that we have. So that is how you do get your tickets.
Right, and I'm seeing that through Pinkfest, Ash Monday is also becoming a thing. Tell us about the One for the Road event that you all will also be hosting.
Okay, so I should tell you, if I sound very technical sometimes, it's because my background is in engineering. I have a PhD in chemical engineering, so I would kind of sound technical sometimes. So with regards to One for the Road, I was speaking to an official, a tourism official, and one of the ideas they had is expanding, and many, not just the tourism official, this is just good sense, expanding Tobago's carnival, which is now, rivaling many other carnivals, expanding it both in time and in space. Now, when we say time, I am noticing that we are actually advertising the carnival as a weekend. It would be nice if we could advertise it as 2 weeks. So that would be expanding in time. When we say space, if you notice, most of the activities take place down on the west, Bonaccord, Scarborough, etc. So what this One for the Road is going to do is going to expand. We haven't worked on the timers yet. It's going to expand the carnival out in space. So the idea is that Monday, and we call it Ash Monday, we leave from Bacalet, from Bayleaf at Bacalet. We could talk about that some other time. We get lunch at Bayleaf at Bacalet, and hopefully it would be a Tobago-based lunch because we need to push this culture. We go to Goodwood, and at Goodwood, we are asking our patrons to patronize the bar at Goodwood. It's called Goodwood Country Bar. We hang out there for a while, patronize that bar. And then we move on to Delaford. And we go to 3-level Ocean View Lounge. My very good friend, Silbert John, he has helped me for years with Pink Fest. And we end up there, and there we have a Tobago lunch and also a fete. You also have the opportunity to go into the beach, take a bath. And by the way, the entire journey, it's a scenic tour. So it's basically a culinary experience mixed with a scenic tour of the Windward and a fete. So that's what One for the Road is all about. And I should tell you, tickets are very limited on that. And I should also mention we are bringing up a party bus. You all probably know about it. And the party bus could only hold 46. However, if we do go beyond 46, we bring up a second party bus. And the hope is also, although we are not pushing this, is that we would have people who probably can't get on the bus and would decide to, let's join the ride. So it may just turn into a party motorcade. May.
All right, Mr. Toussaint, so I want to thank you for joining us this morning and giving us that lovely update with Pink Fest. It sounds like an event that we cannot miss. So I just want to thank you once again and enjoy the rest of your day today.
Right. I want to thank you all also for having me.
Our pleasure.
All right, Julie, it's 8:01 a.m. We are just over by 1 minute, but this morning's conversations were very insightful, I should say.
Yes, they were.
So we have to close off now, viewers. Thank you for choosing Tobago Updates to start your morning on the right note, but we're not done just yet. You know, we always have to give you the GMT special. So stick with us, stay tuned, and just remember to share the live, share the live, share the live.
TIC is the acronym for the Trade and Investment Convention. It is hosted by the Trinidad and Tobago Manufacturers Association, also known as the TTMA, and it is the largest trade show within the region. So this year there are going to be about 400 exhibitors from across, you can say across the world, because it's not just the Caribbean that comes. You have persons from the United States, you have persons that come in from other countries. I know that we have already started to position ourselves and to know that we are indeed working towards becoming the greatest little island on the planet. And TIC provides that perfect opportunity for us to show exactly why. People who know about Tobago know what we bring to the table. But it's one thing to say it, it's another thing to show it. Because some people, even in Trinidad, still think when you think about Tobago, you think about, well, Benny Balls, come to the beach, that's it. But the level of creativity that we are able to display at TIC, it opens eyes. is the 27th edition of TIC, and we have been going since 2012. Before that, we used to go visit more or less, but we have been presenting on this level. Look at what Tobago is doing since 2012 with the advent of the BDU grant, where persons were able to come and access more capital. It provided a platform for us to be able to show this is what the money is going toward. And so it continues to be a journey where the level of expectation increases. Generally, I think that just about everybody who participates at TIC can talk about the fact that, especially if it's the first time, it can be overwhelming. And we try to mitigate that with kind of preparation, training sessions, to ensure that you get a good idea. And thankfully too, with the 3-year window that we provide, those who have been there before tend to provide the kind of support. We've recognized that you cannot get into the larger supermarkets without things like product testing and all of that. So we have the application forms. They are generally put out to the public, that they can fill it out, send it in at a deadline. These application forms ask about your goals for participating at TIC, because we understand as well, while you may get a lot of sales because it's Tobago, we want you to look beyond that. And as such, in establishing your goals, we ask then, what do you think you need to put in place to ensure that you achieve these? I think the future of our participation at TIC will be an interesting one, because it raises the question of how do you manage expectations and how do you better yourself. We've been privileged to win Booth of the Year in 2017 and in 2022. So there's a level of excellence that you come to expect. And so the question is always, how do you top that? I think the main thing we have to be able to do is to be able to engage a little bit more where investors are concerned, so that you see these businesses really elevated, whether they expand their factory space, whether they're able to produce at a higher quality. You are going to see yet another indication of some of the things that continues to contribute to why we can boast that we are actually the greatest little island on the planet. I'm saying today that Tobago's potential is immense. Tobago's creativity is unmatched. And you are going to see some of that on display as we showcase 13 of our SMEs, some of the greatest talent that you want to see, some of the ideas that you may not have thought about that they are bringing to life.
You're viewing Tobago Updates Television, your exclusive gateway to Tobago, broadcasting the beauty of this island paradise to the world.
Good morning, and welcome back to Good Morning Tobago right here on Tobago Updates, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Chanel Felix, and you know whenever you see me sitting here, it's because we're about to have those conversations that you want to have, but I ask those questions that you want asked. But before we get into this morning's interesting topics and conversations, let's have our news in 90 seconds. A 35-year-old Tobago man has been denied bail until trial on October 5th, charged with a bizarre attempted ATM robbery in Plymouth. Sherlan Irvin of Blackrock appeared before Master Shah, facing 9 counts including robbery with violence, malicious damage, and unlawful imprisonment. The charges stem from the June 24th incident where security guards at the call and work site were allegedly held up, a backhoe stolen and used to remove a First Citizens Bank ATM vault. Additionally, a dragnet executed under the emergency powers regulations by the Tobago Divisional Task Force resulted in the arrest of 3 men at Friends Field Trace in Codler Hall. During the sweep, law enforcement officers located and seized 35 cannabis trees. The suspects, ranging from age 28 to 41, were taken into custody for illegal possession. Additionally, the Ministry of Homeland Security assures citizens that contrary to media reports, Trinidad and Tobago is not running out of passport booklets. Minister Roger Alexander confirmed that 12,000 booklets were delivered last month and 48,000 more will be arriving in September. Alexander says the inventory ensures uninterrupted services as the country transitions to a biometric chip e-passport. And finally, the parents of murdered Ronel Marcel has had a major breakthrough yesterday in their son's police-involved shooting matter. After more than a year of runaround and bureaucratic red tape, they met with the Assistant Commissioner of Police to discuss the ongoing status of the investigation. They now await ACP's update on the investigation before exploring their legal options. And that was our news in 90 seconds. Ladies and gentlemen, we take a quick break right here and we'll be back after this. See you soon.
The energy fill the skies. I say thanks a favor to wake up and hear my neighbor. 60,000 people strong and the vibes is never wrong. We are beauty, we are power, we are people.
As small Caribbean islands, we do need to remember that we can't do it individually. The Caribbean needs to work as a whole. From something as simple as pooled procurement of medicine or pooled procurement of equipment, to sharing training, to having centers of excellence in different islands. Working together as one, we can become giants.
Be viewing Caribbean Medical TV on this station.
Good morning, and welcome back to Good Morning Tobago right here on Tobago Updates. Ladies and gentlemen, this morning we're talking all about what's happening for Tobago Carnival in October. And of course, if we're talking about Tobago Carnival, we have to include one of the most premium all-inclusive events for the Carnival season. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this morning we're talking about Tequila Sunset with Mr. David Edwards, who is the event promoter. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning.
Right, so Tequila Sunset has become one of the staple events on the calendar of events for Tobago Carnival in October. Tell us a bit about what the last 2 years, I believe 2 years of this event has been?
Well, actually started the last 5 years ago, but the last 2 years was actually very good. Last year was actually sold out last year.
Right.
And this year is already looking promising. The early bird tickets are already sold out.
Okay, and you have been on the Tobago calendar of events since the beginning, or has it been 2 years?
Since the beginning.
Since the beginning, yes. All right. So since the beginning, and now we are in year five of this event. And you said last year it was completely sold out, and this morning we're talking about the early bird tickets that are currently on sale. Tell us a bit about that.
Okay, so the early bird tickets are already sold out. Right now we have presently the Tier 1 tickets are available, and that's actually going to be sold out by the end of the week. And we'll be moving to Tier 2 packages.
All right, and tell us a bit about the response that you have been getting as the event continues to grow from carnival to carnival, from the beginning of Sunset Tequila on the carnival calendar to now. What has the growth looked like, and what are some of the most significant things that you've noticed?
Well, I must say the response is very good. The people love the fact that they come to all-inclusive and they have unlimited food and unlimited premium liquor all night long without stoppages. And so they really look forward to that. And the music, the DJ cars, the artists, they look forward to all of that as well.
All right, and what is special about this year's Tequila Sunset? What can people really look forward to that's different from what they're used to?
Well, this year is going to be really good as well. We have a lot of giveaways. We also stepped up in terms of the drink packages. We have more drink packages. The music, we add more great DJs, international DJs. We have the local DJs, and we also have artists that's going to be available as well.
Right. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe you had some cabana packages and stuff at one point in time. Do you still have those type of?
Well, this year, what we plan to do, we're going to have packages where, because, you know, some people come to the party, they don't want to go by the bar. So we have the packages where people can get their own bottle and their table setups and stuff like that. That will be also available at a very good price. Because, you know, now the price of drinks in Tobago, in Trinidad and Tobago in general is very expensive. But we aim to keep it at a low price that everybody can be very happy with the prices.
Okay, is the location still the same as last year?
Yes, is the location still the same? And actually, presently, the location is under renovation, so it's going to be even much better and more spectacular.
All right, tell us about the music, the ambience, and the atmosphere that's going to be offered at Tequila Sunset.
Well, the atmosphere is going to be great. We have a great person who will be doing the decor for us. In terms of people coming as a poolside event, so people are allowed to wear, if they want to wear pools side outfits, they can, or if they want to dress, you know, more unique, they could do that as well. But it's definitely going to be really nice.
Understood. And tell us a bit about how highly anticipated this event is. You said that the early birds are already sold out. I came here this morning being told that there were early bird tickets, and now I'm hearing that the early birds are already sold out, and we have Tier 1 tickets. Tell us a bit about the price.
Okay, so the early bird actually this year started at $4.99.
Wow.
And right now we're at $5.99, which is the Tier 1 packages. And that's going to be ending this week. Is eventually going up. The final price is going to be $7.99. So I really stress, if you want to get a deal, to go online, get your tickets now before it's sold out. People, before tickets were available, people was asking me, anticipating the drop of the tickets because they're really looking forward to this event.
All right, excellent. Tell us a bit about the kind of music and the atmosphere. We know Tequila Sunset usually has a bit of a dress code attached to it. Tell us a bit about that.
Okay, so as I said again, the dress code, the majority of people come, mostly, especially ladies, come out in the beautiful colors, the vibrant colors, you know, shorts. Some people come in dresses. A lot of people come out in swimsuits under the attire as well, because they want to go into the pool and enjoy that effect as well. What else did you ask?
It's just the atmosphere, the vibe, and the type of music.
Well, music-wise, Tequila Sunset is mostly a soca party. A soca event. It's going to be approximately 85% soca music, and the next 15% will be mixed in different, whatever one DJs want to play, but it's mostly a soca event.
Understood. And even with this year's Tequila Sunset, we know that the calendar of event is jam-packed on that carnival weekend. What makes Tequila Sunset different from everything else that's being offered on the calendar?
Well, Tequila Sunset, I must say, is different because when you come in, we have, as I said, so many giveaways, and then we have unlimited food from we're talking from like bus-up shots to roti to the local dishes. Also have unlimited drinks. You're talking about unlimited Johnny Walker, unlimited tequila, unlimited Hennessy, unlimited vodka, unlimited local drinks, unlimited beer. So it really stands out. And with all that, you get that for a very, very, very cheap price, which you can't go wrong because now it's very hard. Now economically for a lot of people. So I think that's what it turns out. You could go in, you pay this one small fee, and you get all this access for your money.
So people have this view of Tequila Sunset that it's mostly targeted to the foreigners who come to Tobago for Tobago Carnival. Is that the case? Is it mostly persons from the diaspora that populate the event? Tell us a bit about it. Or is it a mix of both local and international?
Well, I must say, last year particularly, there was a lot of foreigners in the event, yes. But they also have a lot of people from locals there as well. Tequila Sunset is open for everyone. The tickets are available at Tobago Glass Supply. If locals, if they want a ticket here, they can go to Tobago Glass Supply, get the tickets, or anyone could go into islandetickets.com and get the tickets there, or frontlineticketing.com and get the tickets there as well.
All right. And after this first tier, what is the next price tier?
So right now the price is at $5.99 currently now, and then it's going to go up to $6.99, which is going to be at the end of next week.
All right. And what about during the event? You know, we always see that locals are very last minute when it comes to getting tickets to go to events. Sometimes they want to get a ticket the day of the event,
right,
but you won't be able to promise that the prices would be so budget friendly at that point.
Well, I must say, I can't even promise that there will be a ticket sale at the door because, as I said, last year was sold out. We had a couple of people pay at the door last year, but this year the anticipation of tickets is so high already. Maybe at that point it might be sold out. I don't know. So I guess at that point I will be able to cross that bridge.
Understood. Well, we look forward to hearing much more about Tequila Sunset closer to the event, and we look forward to all that will be available as it pertains to premium drinks, premium food, premium vibe, energy, and DJs there. If you're, ladies and gentlemen, if you're interested in these type of events and you're going to be out active and involved in the Tobago Carnival, and if you are coming to Tobago for a carnival and you're wondering what's happening, where do you want to go, where do you want to have fun with your friends, Tequila Sunset, and just remind our audience before we round off our discussion where they can get their tickets, whether they're local or international.
Okay, so if you're local, you can go to Tobago Glass Supply, Spring Garden Trace, and get your tickets there. If you want to go online, you could go on Island E-Tickets and look for Tequila Sunset, get it there as well for local and international. And also, if you are foreigners, you could also go to frontlineticketing.com and get your tickets there as well.
Excellent. Well, we want to thank you so much for being here this morning, and we look forward to all that Tequila Sunset has to offer. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a quick break right here, and we'll be back after this. See you soon.
Let's go, go. It's a brand new morning. Rise up to a brand new dawning. As the passion start to rise, the energy fill the skies. I say thanks for favor to wake up and hear me neighbor.
Our world is filled with rhythm. Rhythm that's unapologetic, infectious, timeless. Rhythm is commitment in action. It's how we show up for each other with unrelenting support that goes the distance. Rhythm lives in the tiny beats of our most intimate moments and the seismic roars of our biggest achievements. Rhythm is resilience in motion. So even when things go out of sync, we do what it takes to bring the rhythm back. At Flow, we understand your rhythm because we live it. That's why we're dedicated to building a network as resilient as you. with a team of familiar faces working every day to keep you on beat. You're at the heart of everything we do, and our commitment is to keep your rhythm flowing, no matter what.
Coming up, Barbados kicks off festival season with Crop Over, where you can live like a local. Moments of discovery and joy during Culinary Month in Antigua and Barbuda. Find that hero within you. As these women of vision share their stories of success. Caribbean Passport TV, your guide to what's happening in the region, here on this station.
As small Caribbean islands, we do need to remember that we can't do it individually. The Caribbean needs to work as a whole. From something as simple as pool procurement of medicine or pool procurement of equipment, to sharing training, to having centers of excellence in different islands. Working together as one, we can become giants.
Be viewing Caribbean Medical TV on this station.
Okay. 335, 336, 337, 338, 339.
Counting on your fingers again. No wonder you lose your business.
Grandpa, thanks for helping me start over.
You not lucky in business, you know. As a child, you tried to sell hog plum. That failed. As a teenager, you and your boyfriend tried to break into the jewelry business. But hey, where that boy end up?
He live in Aruka in the Grove. The golden one.
Oh, child, if you want to get into business, you have to have your financial records intact. But hey, do you know your numbers?
Of course, 62433.
No, child, your numbers, your ratios, your equity ratios. You have a financial handicap.
What?
You need to see somebody about that. Anderson.
Who?
Anderson in Trinidad and Tobago, they offer tax and accounting services. They know about financial management.
Grandpa, I started this business with nothing.
And nothing is what you will end up with unless you call Anderson Services. Here.
Okay, this card is nice.
Yeah.
What's this?
Your rental fee. Have business will pay rent. Hot and groovy in the soca party.
Good morning and welcome back to Good Morning Tobago right here on Tobago Updates. Ladies and gentlemen, this morning I'm chatting with Mrs. Valiant Celino Kanan, and we're talking about Autism Tobago. Good morning and welcome. Tell us a bit, I see that you are actually the new president.
New chairman, yes.
The new
Good
chairman,
morning.
right?
Good morning.
Tell us a bit about the work that you guys have been doing. When was the elections? And talk a bit about the transition of the organization.
Right, morning again. Well, the last AGM was in November 2025. I would have been vice chairman the 2 years prior to that, upon joining the organization in 2023, I think that was. In terms of the transition, it's really more of filling some big shoes of the chairman that was there before, who is now the vice chairman of the organization. They would have really been trying to make some big steps and be really impactful in the community for persons with autism spectrum disorder. So it's really more about just filling those shoes and trying to move things forward in a way that we are all really pleased with.
Okay, and tell us a bit about some of the work that the organization has been doing for persons who are unaware of your presence in Tobago. What type of activities or advocacy does the organization facilitate?
Right, well, the organization would have been started around 2012, between 2010 and 2012. And it's really about sensitizing persons about the disorder, and we take the approach of doing workshops and helping parents with tips and coping strategies for dealing with their various situations as it pertains to their autistic loved ones. So we do workshops with regards to speech therapy strategies, helping persons deal with meltdowns and those kinds of things. We also do things like we recently did this month, which was last week, planning for emergencies. So since now it's hurricane season, we deal with trying to help persons create plans and strategies that incorporate special needs persons in their planning and what's the best approaches to those kinds of things.
Right, and we know with autism, it's a spectrum. So a person can be on either side, and sometimes it's very difficult to even identify whether or not a child has autism.
Right.
And, traditionally, these children may have been viewed as just having bad behavior. Tell us a bit about how that notion has evolved over time, and what are some ways of identifying traits of autism within children, although we know that there is a hesitation to diagnose children with autism.
Right. Well, unlike a lot of other disorders or disabilities, one of the major challenges with autism is that it is known as the invisible disability. So there's not necessarily, for most persons, no physical determining factors that could say that you could readily identify somebody who's autistic. So that's one of the major challenges we face. When it comes to diagnosing persons, and in terms of the spectrum, there are 3 levels of the disorder that are identified. So level 1 being somebody that, we tend to say high functioning, right up to level 1, level 2, level 3. Level 3 being someone that needs constant care and assistance with regards to their daily functioning. So the levels really have to do with, the amount of care or assistance that a person needs. In terms of identifying traits or trait characteristics that can help you identify persons with autism, the list is really vast. So what usually happens is, when you see one person with autism or you meet one person with autism, you've just met that one person, because everybody's symptoms and combination of symptoms tends to vary. So there's the typical things like, possibly being minimally verbal or non-verbal. In smaller children, there's things like the hand flapping, the lack of eye contact, tiptoeing, spinning, all those things that are constituted as stimming. So those are little things that they do to help themselves calm down or get that kind of stimulation that they need. The list is really, really long.
Understood. And tell us a bit about how you got involved with the organization and how the organization helps to support communities of families on the island.
Right. Well, my son is 6 years old. So around when I would have joined in 2023, his dad and I would have noticed traits that we found concerning. We don't necessarily like to use the term red flags, but just traits that we would have found concerning. So he would have been hitting his developmental milestones, and around probably like 1 year old, we started noticing regression. So he would have been progressing normally, and around 1 year old, we started noticing regression in him. So he stopped making eye contact, he stopped responding to his name, he stopped doing all of those little things that you usually check off in those boxes. And through him going to clinic and so on, we would have been recommended to have him assessed, and then we would have gotten confirmation that he was actually showing signs of being autistic. So we because we kind of researched and we kind of anticipated what was going on with him, we started researching organizations and that kind of thing. So after getting the diagnosis, it was kind of a seamless transition into joining the organization for that support. The beauty about Autism Tobago is that it comprises of parents who would have been on this journey a really long time ago. So a lot of the ladies who started the organization back in 2010 and 2012 are still very active. So there is always that wealth of support and information out there, along with a lot of the professionals like therapists and so on that are part of the organization that lend their services to us.
Excellent. And give us a bit of an idea for parents who have children who you said may show concerning signs, or you may raise an eyebrow at some of the things that they're doing. Where's the first place that they should start?
The first place is usually through clinic. So the child is usually diagnosed between 2 to 3 years old. So at that point, the typical child goes to the health center for clinic. So once the doctor who is checking them out notices anything of concern through their assessments, you are then recommended or directed to the avenues that you will be required to take to then get the child assessed. There's things like hearing tests involved and those kinds of things to eliminate the factor of the child possibly having a hearing issue because there's a communication problem if the child is replying to their name. They kind of add that hearing test to it and all those different assessments until you eventually end up seeing a diagnosing pediatrician who is the one that would make that final decision as to if the child is actually on the spectrum or not.
And depending on where the child sits on the spectrum, as you indicated, there may be a higher level of dependency than others. And tell us a bit about how parents can cope. What are some of the coping mechanisms or advice that's given at these workshops that help parents to deal with everything that comes with having a child with autism?
Girl, that is that is a bit challenging. We all have our own ways of dealing with things. One of the major things that's really helpful is having that support of family members or friends who simply understand what you are going through. As I said, because the disability is not necessarily visible, it's kind of hard for persons to really wrap their mind around, well, this is your experience, until they possibly see the child having a meltdown or having that experience, or they see them exhibiting those stimming behaviors, is when persons really kind of understand. As you would have mentioned before, we have a society where in the past, because I think persons' eyes are a bit more open now, but there's the idea of kind of either hiding away the child, or there's a lot of denial surrounding this disorder, or the concept that the child will probably grow out of it, when that is not the case, because autism is not something that you grow out of. It's a lifelong disorder. So it's really kind of just adapting and observing and learning how to maneuver in ways that are most beneficial for the child or the person with autism.
Understood. And you spoke a bit about the idea of having that support, having a community, but does the organization also point parents toward therapy and getting that type of psychological assistance as well with dealing with these children, because we know in these types of cases, persons often shy away from talking about the real, raw, true emotions that come with having to deal with a child with autism, whether it be embarrassment, resentment, regret, or just total sadness, or just feeling that they don't have the time to accomplish or do the things that their colleagues are doing because of the level of attention and time and dedication that these children require as opposed to other children. So as it pertains to the psychosocial or the mental aspect of it, how is that dealt with, or how does the organization approach that aspect of it?
All right. Well, actually, one of the first monthly meetings we had this year actually dealt with mental health and raising the autistic child. That was the first session that we had this year, because we have monthly meetings the first Saturday of every month that, you know, touches on a different topic affecting persons in the community. So we would have had someone come in and help guide us with coping strategies for the parent that is dealing with raising an autistic child, because the reality of the situation is, you know, you would make all these plans and you expect that you're having a child that is quote unquote normal.
Yeah.
And, you know, when you get the diagnosis, there is a period, possibly a long-standing period, that you mourn the life that you thought that you would have had, you yourself as a parent, or the life that you thought the child would have had, and all those plans that you would have made. So, you know, additionally, we also have, because the organization is so family centric and everybody is so close with one another, we aren't necessarily shy about sharing our experiences, and we do offer like a parent support initiative the third Sunday of every month, where persons can come out, find a babysitter, leave the child at home, and come out and share, vent, you know, and even get tips and strategies from other parents who may have gone through similar things about, you know, dealing with your autistic loved one.
Understood. And even though, you know, you spoke about having that support, having that community, having the babysitter, but persons often are reluctant to even take on a child with autism. And you would be surprised that, you know, within a family, you might regularly be able to say, hey, can you look after my son or daughter for me? But when it comes to a child with autism, persons often shy away from taking them because they see them as, you know, being a bit more disruptive or requiring more attention. How do you find support that is equipped to deal with children who have autism?
It could be challenging. On a personal level, I have been fortunate to meet a couple persons who would have known my son from he was a baby. So they kind of grew with him and are accustomed to you know, his needs and so on. But not everybody has that. So a lot of the times, even when we do have events, we say, bring the child.
Right.
Because the reality is not about necessarily always getting away from the child, but creating a space where the child is welcome to be themselves, and you don't have to worry about, you know, the child running away or having the concern that persons may think that the child is strange, because you are surrounded by persons who understand what you are going through. So, you know, aside from that third Sunday event where it's an adults only thing or a parents only thing, all the other events that we have accommodate the child. So you can bring the child and feel safe and feel comfortable that the child could be accommodated in the spaces that we create.
Excellent. Tell us a bit about how persons can get involved in the initiatives that you all are doing, or if they do have a child with autism, how can they benefit from your events?
Right. Well, we have a WhatsApp group that shares general information. We can be contacted at 278-7012. That is the general WhatsApp number for the organization, and we can add you to the WhatsApp chat where we share information, whether it's about meetings or tips or that kind of thing. But as I would have said before, we do have meetings on the first Saturday of every month at the Happy Haven School at 4 p.m. Right? So persons are welcome. You don't necessarily have to be a parent or a relative of a child who has autism. We also do have a pool of volunteers who are just concerned or open members of the community that are willing to help us, whether we have events or even just come and get that information. The organization also fosters membership. So there's a scenario where you could have paid membership of the organization and you are allowed to vote and serve on the executive as well.
Excellent. And so if persons want to also contribute, help fund the initiatives, they can also use the same channels as well.
Correct.
Are you open to collaborating with other similar organizations on the island or just individuals who are doing similar things to expand or just elevate what's already being done?
Yes, of course we are. Coming out of April, which is Autism Awareness Month, we would have collaborated with several entities across the island to help, you know, spread that awareness and bolster that support in the community. We even also as well do sensitization sessions at different organizations, which is a channel that has actually opened a lot of doors for us so far. So we've been to a couple banks, we've go to PTAs and schools and other workplaces to share information about autism and let persons know that we are out here and that they are welcome to be a part of us.
And okay, well, we'll take a quick break right here. There's so much more that we can dive into and talk about on this topic because there's greater awareness available now more than ever, and persons are actually being treated for autistic related is it a disease or
no? It's not a disease.
Or is it a symptoms, right? Now persons actually can be medicated, whereas before there was not enough information to allow persons to be treated in the way that they are now. Even if they are not. You gave some numbers as it pertains to the spectrum because they are, 1 to 3. Yeah, you know, some adults they find out very late on that they are autistic or have symptoms like ADHD and these type of things, and they can actually be treated now. What are some of the ways that persons can find out if they are actually autistic or if they just have autistic symptoms?
Well, it's only through a medical professional that could offer that diagnosis. So for children, obviously, it's through a pediatrician. So once your child is under 18, it has to be done through a pediatrician. Adults who have concerns could contact their general practitioners, and then they will be guided accordingly as to who could offer that diagnosis for them.
Okay, and to tell us a bit about what does treatment look like for a child with autism? Is it that you are just expected to manage the behavior, or are they put on meds? How does that work? Or do they just go to therapy for speech and behavior? How does it work? For someone on the outside that doesn't understand, just looking in, how does it work?
Right. Well, everybody's, as I keep harping on, everybody's symptoms are really different. And a lot of times it doesn't necessarily mean that the person has autism alone. It could be autism and ADHD, autism and, something else. So the things that the person may be treated for or medicated for may not necessarily be pegged to autism, right? So the idea, as far as my experience, just coming straight out of the gate and asking to medicate the child is not necessarily the route that the medical professionals tend to go, because the person's symptoms keep evolving over time. So they may pick up traits and they may drop traits. So things they would have been doing for months or years, they may stop it and pick up something else. So going the route of medicating someone is not necessarily the first thing that the medical professionals do out of the gate. So, we usually go through the battery of therapies, so speech therapy, occupational therapy, behavioral therapies, to try and manage the symptoms as best as possible. In lieu of those things being effective, then is when, medications are explored.
Right. And another thing that persons don't talk about is that there is a heightened level of shame connected to having a child with autism. And sometimes it's just because you go out in public and you just want to have a normal experience. You just want to go to the grocery, get your stuff and come back, or you just want to go sit, wait for your appointment and go in. But having a child with autism brings a heightened level of complexity with the behavior that for someone who is unaware of those nuances that come with having autism, they may just see it as this person can't control a child, as we have in this cultural sense, like control your child. And so there's a level of shame, but then also a feeling of inadequacy, like what am I doing wrong? Can I do anything? And not understanding that there's very little that you can actually do at times to shape the behavior. How can a parent deal with that?
The most we ask for is understanding. That's the most we could ask for, because as you said, a lot of times persons usually go undiagnosed as well because of those same beliefs. So there are situations where the child may just be pegged as being slow, or those kinds of things. And as you mentioned again before, that kind of shame kind of encapsulates the parents or the family. I think that now, with the amount of information we are bombarded with on social media and so on, I have found that persons are a lot more receptive. So I kind of consider myself as being really fortunate to be in this time where persons are a lot more understanding and a lot more exposed to the information. So it's not, I haven't found it that persons find it so strange that my son has autism. A lot of times persons would see him stimming and that kind of thing, and they could readily identify that, okay, he's autistic.
Let's talk about the education system in Tobago, because a lot of persons identify the deficiency in the mainstream education system as it pertains to having the provisions for children with special needs, and particularly autistic children, because it's a spectrum, and a number of these children are quite brilliant, quite high performing, but they learn differently and require different type of environmental stimulus to keep them quiet enough to sit for 30 minutes to learn something, or they need a multimodal approach to learning that includes video, audio, speech, just different types of things in order for them to be engaged, because it's easy for them to get up after 2 minutes and not want to hear anymore. But if they are in an environment where the content continues even though they are unable to sit still, although you may not know they're still learning, even though they seem like they're not engaged. Have you noticed that deficiency in the system? What has the organization been doing, and what would an ideal future in education in Tobago for children with autism look like in your mind?
Well, I'll start with the last part. Ideally, it would be to have fully inclusive schools, right? There are a few, but the dream is to have all schools be inclusive, to have all teachers be trained, or even if not necessarily teachers, to have a wealth of teachers' aides that could actually assist in the classroom. So that aspect is actually a major deficiency, because it is difficult for teachers have a lot on their plate. So it's not all the time that they have the opportunity to give the necessary one-on-one attention to a child that may require that extra attention in their classrooms. You know, the organization is we're an NGO. We don't have those long-reaching arms that could make that direct, pinpointed impact in those kinds of spaces. So, you know, we are really more about advice, guidance, and support for parents of autistic persons. But, you know, even me starting on this journey with my son, of course, is when I would have really realized the deficiencies or the lack of even special needs schools, you know, aside, because, you know, growing up, the most special needs school you'd have probably heard about was Happy Haven or the school for the hearing impaired.
Right.
And it's only when you're in it is when you are exposed to what is really out there. But again, I think as well, because of the availability of information, we have small pockets where there are a few institutions that are welcome and open to accommodating a child with autism. We have a few members whose kids go to mainstream schools, and they would have been well accommodated because of the teachers there having that family-oriented sense, that understanding trait in them where they welcome and they are open to supporting a child who may be differently abled.
All right, and even as we round off the discussion, because your organization focuses or has a lot of advocacy connected to it, I want to ask you this question. Do you think it is, because resources are limited, of course, it's worth trying to accomplish this in all the mainstream primary schools and high schools, or do you think it may be wise to kind of focus on maybe a handful of schools, maybe these couple schools where there are facilities in place that, you know, have that all-round focus, whether it's a room with things that engage them, and or maybe we take it in stages, you know? What do you see being a practical way of including them in the educational system within the next 5 years?
Well, I think early intervention is the best bet. So starting from even the preschools and the primary schools is like in that short-term space that you would have given, span of time that you would have highlighted there, is possibly the best approach. And then we start implementing and branching out into the high schools and so on. Because a lot of persons tend to fly under the radar, getting that intervention early on is a wise approach.
Understood. Well, I want to thank you so much for coming in this morning and having this conversation with me in your new role as chairman of Autism Tobago. And there's so much that we could touch on and talk about as autism becomes, you know, the information surrounding autism becomes more readily available to the public. And one of the things that stood out to me that you said is that the most that we can do is give grace to parents, because we don't know what they are facing and how they feel and what they're already going through. So on top of everything that's happening, to talk down on them or talk down on their children really only offers an additional layer of, you know, burden and hardship with everything that's already being faced as it pertains to the resources being available, or just, you know, being able to have them in spaces where they are accommodated for. But nevertheless, I believe that your organization will continue to do what it takes to be a strong voice as it pertains to civil organizations on the island and making real change where it pertains to persons with autism, not just kids, but persons
Definitely,
with autism.
yes.
Again, I want to thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank you for being a part of this morning's discussions. I want to thank you for your likes, your shares, and your comments, and all that you have been doing and continue to do to make Tobago Updates the #1 broadcaster here on the island of Tobago. I am Chanel Felix, and I'm always going to remind you to have a productive day.
Tobago updates. Good morning, Tobago. Let's go. It's a brand new morning. Rise up to a brand new dawning as the passion start around.